This is the 10th webinar of the training program associated with the Perceive project. These webinars are organized by CNR and are dedicated to the subjects of color change in sensitive heritage collections and to the use of advanced and innovative research methodologies for their study. These Perceive webinars are scheduled from April 2025 to January 2026, and their objective is to enhance the digital capabilities of scientists and cultural institutions through a service-oriented AI architecture and toolkit, while also developing a new design theory for both on-site and remote mixed realities. Studying these fragile objects is a very complex endeavor, and reconstructing their original appearance requires great attention. Perceive will emphasize the integration of advanced technologies to enhance the understanding and management of the types of objects in museum collections, and we choose for this project classical statues, paintings and works on paper, textile, orthochromes, and analog photography, and finally, digital art. All webinars episodes are organized with two speakers who will address the same topic from two different perspectives, followed by a question and answer session. We really value your participation and feedback, and please ask questions, writing them in the chat, and the speakers will answer at the end of the discussion. My name is Cristiana Barandoni, and I'm a researcher at the CNR ESPC in Florence. Today, I moderate the webinar on the Color Knowledge Repository, which is a key output of the Perceive project, a powerful data management system that collects, organizes, and openly shares color-related resources in cultural heritage artworks. As a collaborative research environment, our repository brings together a diverse community of stakeholders, including color experts, heritage and data scientists, museum curators, conservators, exhibition designers, educators, and communication professionals, working across physical and digital cultural heritage domain. Initially designed to support the Perceive working groups sharing data and researches for heritage objects, from ancient polychrome sculpture and delicate painted surfaces to dyed textile and historical films. Its goal is to expand this community. We warmly welcome all researchers and museum professionals interested in color-related themes in heritage collection to join and contribute. And now, few words about the two speakers of today. Sofia Sotiropoulou is assistant professor at the Hellenic Open University, School of Applied Arts and Sustainable Design and Research Associate at the Institute of Electronic Structure and Laser of the Foundation of Research and Technology. She is a physicist, postgraduated in physical methods in archaeology and museography, and holds a PhD in color data analysis of heritage objects. Devoted to heritage science, she conducts research and teaches the development of analytical strategies and methodologies for studying and monitoring a wide range of archaeological material, artworks, heritage objects, and structures. Her specialism is the characterization of the optical, chemical, and visually perceptible properties of colored and painted surface on heritage objects. She also is interested in communicating scientific data to a wider audience, exploring novel approaches, and promoting cross-disciplinary understanding and the co-creation of new cultural content. In Perceive project, she is leading the work package 3 on material modeling and data management. Marios Pitikakis is a lecturer, lab teaching staff at the Computer Science Department, University of Crete, and a researcher associate at the Institute of Electronic Structure and Laser of the Foundation of Research and Technology Hellas. He received his PhD from the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering of the University of Thessaly. and holds a BSc in mathematics and a BSc in computer science from the University of Crete. He has worked with several research institutes in Greece and in Italy and has extensive research and development experience in Europe and national funded projects. He has over 25 refereed publications, international journal, conferences, and edited volumes. His research interests include semantic data management, knowledge-based and decision support system, data information analysis, medical informatics with emphasis on computer-aided diagnosis detection, medical image processing, and 3D visualization with the use of XR technologies in education. In Perceive, he is responsible for the development of color knowledge repository. Let me few words and then I will let the speakers start their webinar. In the coming weeks, we will publish the calendar of the last session of our webinars entirely dedicated to the analysis of the prototypes and tools created in Perceive. To stay up to date, please visit our social channels on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, and of course, our website. You can find all the links later in the chat. Finally, I wish to remind that this webinar is recorded and that this video will be available on the YouTube channel of the Perceive project. Thank you for your support, and we hope to see many of you at the upcoming webinars. So let's welcome Sofia Sotiropoulou. Thank you very much, Sofia, and Marius.
Thank you, Christiana. I'll share my screen. Please let me know if you see it properly.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So, good morning, everyone. I'll start by presenting the general framework, the scope, and the content of the Color Knowledge Repository, as well as its technical architecture. Then my colleague Marios Pitikakis, who is the main developer of the system, will demonstrate some of the key functionalities of the repository. The Color Knowledge Repository is an open and scale-up data management system that has been developed to collect, organize, and openly share color-related resources about cultural heritage objects. It has been developed entirely within the framework of a Perceive project. It was designed to meet the project's needs in terms of research data management, providing a comprehensive and integrated framework that adheres the FAIR principles. However, the ambition behind its creation went beyond the needs of the project. The aim is to create a collaborative research environment, and as such, the repository brings together a diverse community of stakeholders, including color experts, scientists, museum curators, conservators, exhibition designers, and education and communication professionals who work across either physical or digital cultural heritage domains. This is the homepage of the repository, and we log in using our org ID. The focus is on color and its materiality, its fragility, and its meaning, as expressed in different typologies of color collections. In the repository, separate communities have been created around the different perceived scenarios, each scenario addressing challenges of preservation and communication of color in a specific typology of objects. The lost polychrome in ancient sculptures, the change of colors in paintings and works on paper, the fading of colors in textiles or in photographic collections and historical films, the colors in born digital artworks. This structure of communities enables each community to develop content around the respective perceived scenario, adding its own touch and incorporating relevant resources and data that answer key research questions relating to the scenario's thematic priorities. Both preservation and access to colored collections are based on scientific knowledge, and for this reason, we prioritized the development of the repository that enables sharing, reuse, and enrichment of this knowledge. Let's explain what I mean. Preservation addresses the challenge of stabilizing preserved color. However, in most cases, depending on the typology, the color is changed, partly or almost lost, faded, or discolored compared to the original. Immediately, we understand the importance of investigating and identifying the original colors. This knowledge also informs debates about authenticity, particularly when it comes to reconstructions and the notion of what constitutes the true or faithful appearance of an object is informed by both material evidence and cultural interpretation. Ultimately, perception connects the dimensions of preservation and authenticity to audiences, shaping interpretation and understanding and encouraging public engagement. Our goal was to establish a data management infrastructure based on a data model that supports the full life cycle of data, from acquisition to processing, interpretation, and communication. This data life cycle constitutes the data flow through all research activities in Perceive. Primary data acquired through a repertory of analytical techniques applied to physical heritage objects captures complementarily aspects of the material nature, including chemical composition of pigments and colorants, physical properties of color and texture, and their variability under different lighting conditions, the condition of colored surfaces, and the causes and the chemistry of color change. However, primary data are rarely self-explanatory. Advanced processing techniques are applied to extract meaningful information, which is often hidden in the raw data. This processed data is shared and this processed data is shared and enriched. It may then be combined to construct simulation models that enable reconstructions of previous states or predictions of future changes in the appearance of the color objects. Given that such data sets and resources are obtained at different times by different contributors, and sometimes iteratively, meaningful reuse requires rigorous documentation, complete metadata, and semantic interlinking. The repository organizes resources within a structured, interoperable framework that reflects the entire data life cycle. It hosts all data sets documented with relevant metadata that enable the owner, creator of the data, or anybody else to reuse this data, to compare them with other data sets, to combine them with other resources, to relate them with other older or new data, contributing new knowledge in the field. The technical infrastructure of the repository is based on Invenio RDM, an open source framework developed by CERN for building large-scale digital repositories. We are all familiar with Invenio software, thanks to Zenodo, which is built with the Invenio software, and we could ask why we have not used Zenodo, but we have deployed a self-hosted Invenio RDM instance. The reason is that even though Zenodo has a broad visibility in open science community, and it is an excellent choice for sharing scientific outputs and at no cost, the fact that it has a fixed metadata structure and does not allow customization can limit its functionalities. Compared to Zenodo, deploying a self-hosted Invenio RDM instance offered us significant advantages for a tailored research data management system. It allowed us to extend the functionalities of Zenodo by a predefined long list of resources and analytical datasets, images and 3D models, or resources that are the output of processing, analysis, simulation methods that we have developed in Perceive project. All these different types of resources that provide the content for research questions on color collections. We also structured the metadata fields based on an extensive data model that allows to fully document examination or analysis workflows that is semantically consistent and is in full alignment with FAIR principles. At the same time, building on Invenio software, we take advantage of a stable environment that is permanently supported and continuously upgraded, a familiar environment that allows users, thanks to this familiarity, to fully explore and expand the functionalities available beyond a basic use. An interoperable framework in terms of data resources categorization, terminology, data and metadata file formats, and with semantic underlay that allows to build relationships among resources. And finally, the fact that data and metadata can be exported in various formats, and the system supports integration via REST API, enabling automation and interoperability with other platforms. The repository is up and running and fully functional. For now, the content is organized around the perceived scenarios, and it is open to the research community interested in research questions around the preservation and communication of color in heritage collections. Anyone can join the repository and join a community to access and share data. Although Perceive will end at the beginning of next year, the repository will be supported and maintained by Forth and continuously expanded as part of the European Collaborative Cloud for Cultural Heritage. The upscale, expansion and integration of the color repository to the European Collaborative Cloud will be ensured in the framework of Colors, a newly started European-funded project. I will stop here and give the floor to Marios to show you some of the functionalities of the repository. So Marios, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Sophia. Good morning, everyone. I will show, let me share my screen. I will present a short overview, a live demo of the Color Knowledge Repository, which is a research data management repository that can store and share color-related resources and their metadata. I will start by showing the main functionalities of the repository, which is searching and accessing data. So the repository hosts diverse resources, including 3D models, datasets, images, texts, and so on, relevant to color knowledge and the preservation of color in art and heritage objects. The next functionality is basically uploading and managing data. and the user can upload datasets, files, and associated metadata or metadata-only records linked to external resources. The third thing that a user can do is basically participate in a community and collaborations, and users can create and manage communities within the repository, along the collaboration and sharing of data amongst a group of people. So we can assign different roles, and we can assign different roles, and a user can read only or have full administrative privileges and so on. I will explain all this later on. I will start from searching and discovering data. So if you click here, you can see all the available data set. Just a minute, I will log out so I can show you how an external user sees the repository. So you can see here that less results were found because if I'm logged in and belong to some community, I can access more datasets. So an external users can see all these results. This is everything that the repository currently has. So you can see here that for each record, we have the date, the resource type, the access status of the datasets, a title, authors, a short description, and the date of the upload. All of this can be sorted by different filtering, newest, oldest, and things like that. And of course, there is the possibility to apply different kind of filters. The three main filters here on the left are the access status. So we can see that we have metadata only records, which means that the actual files are not really stored inside the repository. They are links to somewhere else, Nextcloud or other shared folder, or somewhere on the internet. If they are open or not, or restricted to a specific community or users. This is the first type of filter. The second major type is the resource type. You can see here that there are several resource types that they were customized for the perceived purposes. If you click, I don't know, maybe this one, you can see the specific. Here you can see that there are 8 kind of records of this resource type. Then we have the other filtering option, which is the technique. So we can see here, for example, digital microscopy, we have different data sets. So one way to search is by filtering. Another common way to search is by keywords. So if we put a specific object or a keyword that we want, of course, we can use more than one. For example, if we put a scream, which is a painting, we can see here the 34 results. You can, of course, combine filtering with methods. For example, if you click here, you get only 2 results. Let's see how a record looks like. So if we click on one record, we can see, of course, title, description, citation, a representative image. This one, of course, you can upload multiple files. So here you can see that the user have uploaded different kind of color-related. These are text files, but the main image is this one. So this one is displayed here. Then we have some additional information like research focus or description or related activity, which describes the technique or the acquisition type or the method used or tools and other things like that. Some supplementary information, which is rather simple here. Then we have version. We could have multiple versions of one record, so you can edit or upload different, update, let's say, the content or edit the metadata, so you create a new version. Then we have access rights. This one is open, so there is a Creative Commons license for it. And of course, you can export it in different formats, the metadata, I mean. And then, of course, you can download any of these files by clicking here or preview them if they are if the type of the format of the file is viewable, let's say. Let's go up. And one last thing, at the top you can see here that this record belongs to a specific community. This belongs to the color changes in painted object community, and this is indicated at the top. The user can decide and say if a specific upload belongs to a community or not. I will say more when I show you the upload form. So if we go back, let's try another search keyword. Let's say Venus. We have a lot of, just a minute, just to uncheck to get more results. So regarding Venus, we have several objects here. Let's try the Bikini Venus 3D model. Again, let's go back. You can see here that most of them are open. This one is open. This has only metadata, which means that the actual data are somewhere else on the internet. This one is, these two are restricted. That means that only the members of a specific community can view them. Let's try this one. So here, similar kind of information. The difference here is that the uploaded file is basically a zip. So we can see the contents of the zip file, but we cannot really preview some things. So the main object here, apart of the images, is this OBJ file, the 3D model basically of the Bikini Venus. The rest of the thing is more or less the same. You can download, which is rather large, 325 megabytes. You can download this zip file. You can see here we have richer metadata information. So there is a link to the Perceive cloud, Nextcloud repository, so you can also access the model from there. That is related to work. So the other files that are related to the creation of these models are stored in another location here. We have dates, created date or modified date and stuff like that. Research focus, research activity, basically the technique, the photogrammetry technique that was used to generate the model, and methods and specific information about the equipment, camera used or other things. So this is a small overview of what each record contains. Another way to browse things and find new data sets is by going to communities. So in this way, you can see what, and you can, for example, click in a specific community and see the data sets that belong to this community. So if we select, let's say, fading textiles, we can see specific records for this specific community. So these are more or less the ways that you can search and discover data. Okay, and that's, let's now go to the rest of the things, how you upload new datasets or edit datasets or join a community. For this part, a user has to log in. So as Sophia said, we are using mostly org ID. Any person with an org ID can log in and create an account in the Color Knowledge repository. Let's try to log in with my credentials, my org ID credentials. So here, as you can see, I'm logged in. If I try to search, you can see that I get more results because some records are private and I belong to several communities, so I can see them. Every user has a profile, so you can edit or add or affiliations or emails or things like that. Of course, we can make your profile public or hidden. It's best if you do it, if you make it public, because then you can get invited to communities and people can find you, basically. Of course, the other stuff like changing the password and other things are more or less standard. And the main thing that you can do now, if you go to the home page, is basically upload new data sets. And here you can see the standard form if you want to upload a new record. The first thing that you should decide is basically if the record belongs to a community or not. If it doesn't belong to a specific community, it's uploaded as a generic record. You can, of course, select a community. Let's say this one. If you do that, you can see that the community is indicated here, and then you can see here that the upload procedure is a little bit different, because if you upload a record, it is submitted for a review for this specific community. So someone, the curator of this community or the manager, has to review it and accept it so it can be shown in this specific community. Otherwise, if we remove that, you can see that we can publish it right away. So it's your responsibility to upload something, and it's this record, let's say, belongs to you and not to a specific community. So the important thing here to remember is that if you don't select a specific community, you cannot really change that later on. You can edit the metadata and files and so on, but you cannot insert it to a specific community. This has to be done from the beginning. So I'll go through the main steps quickly. You can, of course, upload a specific file or more than one files. There are some limits, up to 100 files or up to 10 gigabytes. If you don't want to upload a specific file, you can make it a metadata only record. This means that later on you will specify the URL where the actual data reside, which may be in a share folder or organizational repository or somewhere else on the internet. So the required fields are a few, but they are important. The first one is the resource type. So there are several resource types here. This is a control list. So you have to select a specific resource type. If you are unsure, you can just put other. Otherwise, let's say we can select, I don't know, 3D model laser scanning. The title, of course, it's required, and the publication date, the default date is today, but you can also change that if it was published earlier on. And the other thing that is required is the creator, so you can add one or more creators. If we put, you can put the name, you can put some org ID or other identifier. These are also shown when you download things, or it is shown for every record, your affiliation or your role. For example, you are the data curator of this object. Okay. You can save it, or you can save and add another one, so multiple persons or organizations can be added as creators. We need at least one. Then a description. You can, of course, add multiple descriptions. And of course, you can select licenses. The default is Creative Commons if it's open, but you can also add custom licenses that you specify or other standards, specific licenses that exist and you are familiar with. Okay, so this is more or less the required things that are the basic information. The rest of the things are optional. You can add contributors and languages and stuff like that, versions. You can add funding if the object or the file you are uploading is funded by, I don't know, EU projects, or it has awards or stuff like that. If you are not uploading a file but just the metadata, you are required to add an identifier. So basically you can add, for example, if it's a publication, let's say the ISBN or the DOI or whatever. If it's a URL, you can put here where exactly is hosted. And this is important if the file is stored somewhere else. Okay. Of course, there is the section of the related work. You can add the related work which can be a paper or another data set. So, for example, you can again select the SIM, so it can be a URL, the resource type, and other things, or the relation that this work has with your record. For example, this is I don't know, a continuation or described or a different version or whatever, a variant or other things that you can specify and create a relation with your object. Then there is the research focus, of course, title. Here we have the category, what basically this is, let's say a document or multimedia or whatever, a description. I will not go through all the metadata sets, fields. So here we have also research activity. Again, here we have controlled lists of what this object, what is the research activity type. We can say that it's an object examination. We can specify the technique. I don't know, I will put something random. The technique category, let's say, yeah, 3D imaging. The acquisition technique reference, if there is a reference, the method used, this could be a long description, equipment used, and a lot of other things. I will not go through them one by one. And then some supplementary information about the object. If it's an examination, we can put the scale or the examination type and other things like that. So this is more or less the main categories of the upload form. Most of them, of course, are optional, but keep in mind that if you upload rich metadata, the user can find your record easier. The last thing I will mention here is on the right, the visibility. So here you specify if your record is public, open to everyone, or if it's restricted. For example, if you select a community, a record could be restricted to the community members. You can also apply an embargo date, so you can be restricted for now, but let's say that in 3 months can be open if the work is published, let's say. The other thing that you can do, if you go here and you actually upload a file, there are 2 ways to specify the visibility. You can make it public. I mean, the metadata can be public, but the files can be restricted. Or, of course, everything can be restricted or public. Okay, these are mainly the main choices. Of course, you can save a draft. It's not required to publish it right away. You can save it as a draft and then revisit it and change things and modify it and or preview it and then publish it. So there is a way to store temporarily the form and the metadata. It's not necessary to do that at once. So for example, let's finish with the upload form. If you go to my dashboard, you can see the records that I have uploaded, or I am the curator or manager in some community. So for example, as I said before, this one is a draft. It's not published yet, so you can edit it and change things and then maybe save it or publish it. And of course, you can edit any of your previously uploaded records. So here you can see again the form, and you can modify anything that you like here, or even make it restricted or publish it again as a different version, or upload something else or remove something else and upload it again. You can see here the community that it belongs to. So this is more or less how you can edit and modify things. Of course, you can search, if we have a lot of results here, you can search for a specific thing and use filter as before. What else? I think we can now go on to communities and show you a few things about communities. So here, since I'm logged in, I can see my communities and the existing communities. Of course, this set it's the same because we only have at the moment 5 communities that relate to the 5 scenarios of Perceive. So in each community, I belong to all of them, basically. Any user can create a new community, so this is a way to collaborate between the system users. So I can create a new community. For example, here I can put the name, and I can also specify if it's a public community or restricted. So I can make it restricted, and specific people can have access to it, only the members, let's say. Okay. So if I go to my communities, the first one, let's see. So here I can see the data sets that belong to this community. Here I can see also the request, which means that someone else uploaded a dataset record to the specific community, and the manager, the curator, has to approve it or not. So here you can see an example. So I can view this, which is, I don't know, a mock-up, so it's not a real record. So I can either accept or decline or cancel or do nothing. So these are the open requests to include a dataset record in a specific community. I can also see the closed requests. So here are all the accept dataset, and you can see it here. Okay. Now, you can see also the members of a community. So here you can see the people that belong to this community and their respective role. So you can see here the Brenda is a curator. Here we have readers, we have managers, of course multiple people, multiple persons can do the same job. So we can have multiple curators. We can, of course, remove a person from, if we are the manager for a specific community, or if I belong to a community, I can leave at any time. Let me show you also how you invite people in a community. So here we don't have any open invitations, we have closed invitations. So here we can see that we invited specific people and they accepted. So if we invite a person, let's try it. So if we click invite members, You can search to invite a person. The person must have at least once logged in with org ID or other means in the repository. So if we search for someone, if you do it like that, we can see people that have open public profile here, and we can select someone to participate in a specific community, and we can define their role. Of course, this can be changed later on, and send an invitation. I will not do it now, but when I do it, the specific user gets an invitation and notification message, which is here, and then he or she can accept the invitation or not. Of course, you can also modify the community, the title, the type. For example, it could be a community, could be an organization or a topic or a project or an event, could be anything. Okay, or a specific task, can have a specific website or description, an image, and things like that. And of course, you can change the privileges. I mean, it can be public or restricted. So this is more or less what you can do with communities. I think, yeah, here, for example, from my dashboard, I can see my communities, as I said earlier, or I can see requests, if I have open requests or closed. Since I created most of the communities, yeah, I don't have closed requests. I was the owner of the communities, but if you are invited, you can see the invitations here. More or less, this is everything. One thing I forgot to say for in the search page, there is also right here a search guide. So here there are some instructions where you can make more advanced searches with multiple words or phrases or keywords, or you can search for in the metadata. For example, if you put a keyword, it searches everywhere. I mean, the range is in every field, but you can limit that, for example, by searching in the title or in the description for a specific word. So you can have multiple words with, if you put it like this, it's implied that there is open or science, then two keywords. If you want both, you can put an and, an operator, a logical operator between the words, or you can, if you want an exact match, you can put it in quotes. So more or less these are standard. And okay, regular expressions and things like that are more advanced, but there is a way for you to make more advanced searches. So this is more or less what I have prepared for you. If you have any questions, of course, we can ask. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Marius, and thank you, Sophia, for your amazing presentations and for this huge project, which was really, really needed from the community of scholars, museum professionals, and conservators. There are some questions for you in the chat. I will read the first. What is the license of the repository, and what are the conditions for using it? Maybe you have already answered, Marius, so you if you can very briefly sum up.
Yeah,
try to answer.
Yeah, it depends of what the user can wants. So basically, if you upload something, you can make it open, or you can specify specific license. Most of the things are open now, like Zenodo. But of course, you can restrict things, and you can assign them to a record, a specific community, and only the people that belong to the community can see it. And at any time, of course, you can open it or not. So it depends it's up to the user.
Okay, so I can imagine the question is because pretending I'm a scholar, that I'm studying a statue that has already been studied, can I cite the data that are in the repository?
Yeah, yeah.
And I should refer, of course, to the repository and to the author of the research, of course. But, sometimes we don't have those data. So it's very important to have such a repository to know more also about our research. So maybe the question of what are the conditions that we can use
Yeah, of course.
that
If
are
it's
focusing on
if
this.
it's open, you can cite the URL of the specific record in the repository. So if it's publicly available, you can put the URL of the record.
Okay.
So yeah, this is possible.
And another question is what impact can a color repository have on the understanding and on the preservation of ancient polychromy?
I don't know if Sophia wants to
Yes,
answer this
I
one.
would say that the impact depends really on the participation to the repository. So we cannot measure now the impact, but our effort is to disseminate and to open and let people know about the repository and invite them to participate. Through the participation, through the sharing of data, through the exchange of information. Also, as we mentioned it, the repository does not contain only data, the data sets, images, 3D models, but also workflows. So the sharing of information on the approach, on the methodology for studying polychromy is shared in the repository. So the impact is really, we expect and we are confident that the impact will increase progressively, but it really depends on the participation. It is also a question of mentality, and I think we live in times where we get used to share our data. Sometimes we are asked to share data, but we get this mentality of opening data, sharing data, because we understand more and more the interest of sharing data. So I think that this is also a factor that will play on the impact. Our mentality to publish, to
Exactly.
open not only the results but also the data, to get exposed to our community and exchange, and also the fact that we have the possibility through the open data to work with others' data. This is also
Exactly.
important. So it
That's the
really depends
focus.
on us.
That's the focus, because sometimes it happens that we study, for example, I talk about, I'm an archaeologist, so my focus is on ancient sculpture. We don't know that if somebody has already studied the statue, or even worse, if they have already studied, they didn't share the data. So we have to begin to start from the beginning. And every time we're losing time. We're losing time, efforts, money, and knowledge, because we do things that somebody has already done before us. They didn't share. So it's not that the repository, I think, should go exactly in this direction, just to say we are here, our will is to build a community. We need all to share data, because this is the only way to progress in our I wouldn't say topic, because it's starting to be a discipline. So the study of ancient colors need to be focusing on the sharing of the data to help each other. So
Yes, and actually, even when the data cannot be shared, just to publish the metadata, to let other people know
that's
that you
it.
are working
Exactly.
on an object, on a subject, this already is an important step forward, because you can let people know that you are working on a sculpture, exchange what you have done. Maybe you are not yet allowed to publish the files, the data, but you publish your research, your
Exactly.
approach.
I think this is a medium that could really help people sharing data, because I know that many museums do not allow scholars to publish data unless they publish first. So this could be a challenge. But if we say, as you were saying, I am studying this orthochrome rather than these paintings or whatever I'm studying, and share my research, this could be very helpful for or the community, because this is the future, in my opinion. This is the future of our discipline. Unless we don't, I think that we will stay, isolated in an isolated system, and without sharing that data, we will never progress in our, even considering the method of the research, which is very important, which is fundamental for a correct workflow, both in the diagnostic and in the 3D modeling of such those complex works of art. I've got another question, Giorgio Trampi. Can I structure files in folders? Can I delete multiple files at once?
Yeah, you don't really can do that in a folder as we have in mind. You can upload multiple files. The easiest way to do that, if we want a specific structure, is to upload a zip file. So include the structure inside the zip. Otherwise, there is no structure like that. So we have like 10 files, no real structure. So the easiest way to do it in a zip, I believe.
I wanted just to add something on that. It really depends on us. The repository gives several possibilities. Sometimes it is better to have more than one record related among them than create just one record and put all the work in with different folders, and to create a complex structure in a record is not always necessary. It is possible to add multiple files if these are really part of that, if those need to be together. But we can think also for different ways of uploading data that are related and do not necessarily need to be in the same record. But this is up to the creator. While for the other question, I think Marius, you could answer, but I'm not sure that I understand correctly whether
Which one?
it can in the same again by Giorgio. He's asking
Delete.
whether yes.
Can I delete multiple files at once? That was the second question.
So basically, you can create a new version of your record. So the new version has less or more or changed files, so you can have versions. So yeah, it depends how you want to use the repository. So my advice is basically have multiple records and have relations between the records, so you can track also provenance. So this, I don't know, 3D model was created by these images and then it was, I don't know, processed and created something else. So you don't have to put all three in one record, have three different records and also track how they relate, something like that, if I can give some advice, let's say.
Okay, I've got a question. Do you think possible to plan one or two moments of one or two sessions to train people to use, just in case we would need to add? Because this is easier, as you were explaining, but I think it's not that easy for people that are unaware of this. So could it be possible to plan one day, or whatever you think possible, a special session of training to help people add in the metadata or the data, or to be more confident with the repository?
Of course, but we would say that to be more efficient, the best way to be trained is first to play, to try.
Try, of course.
It is simple. We have, as we said, we are familiar also with the Zenodo, and the structure is similar, so it's not something very different or complex or difficult to understand. But after a first effort to make some trials, to try to create some records, then it would be much more useful and efficient to have a training session and have questions and explain details, etc.
Yeah, we
I
did
think
that.
also this webinar will be very helpful since you explain it perfectly, the way
It
it
was
works.
quick,
And
but
no, it's fine. It's fine because we are recording the webinar, so the webinar will be uploaded in our Perceive platform in YouTube channel. So maybe this could be a beginning to help people just to get confident with this. But just I was wondering if it could be possible just from here till the end of the project that is supposed to be in March, if I'm not wrong, just to think about a day, just in case we should receive a request on this to have a training for people that are interested in.
Yeah. Sure, you can do that, and also you can save drafts so you don't publish them right away, and I can have access to the drafts so I can see them and advise if necessary. And we did that in work package 3. We did that with several people. So if you save the draft, I can see it. So yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So before closing the webinar today, let me thank you very much for your amazing presentation. Alina Messanaki, sorry if I pronounce it wrong. Thank you for your presentation. It is indeed really interesting. So before closing our webinar today, let me remind you that the final session of the webinar is planned starting in December and ending at the end of January 2026. And it will be entirely dedicated to the tools and prototypes of Perceive. This recording will be available in our YouTube channel. So, any question you can write us following the links of all the social medias that I uploaded in the chat. And that's it. Thank you so much, Sophia. Thank you so much, Marius. And keep in touch for the calendar of the next webinars. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.